Hello everybody, thank you for joining me for your collective reading for the week of March 16th to March 22nd, 2020. Keep in mind that these messages are fluid as time and energy are, so take what resonates and leave what doesn't. If something doesn't fit, don't force it. I was meditating a bit on the energies for the week, and the main message that was coming through for me was it was essentially not fighting what's coming up for you. It was this energy of needing to embrace whatever emotions you are feeling in the face of the circumstances that we are currently facing as a collective, as I'm sure many of you are aware. But I think the most important thing is to just stay calm. Try not to let your fear overrun you. And face your fear as it comes, embrace it, and transmute it into courage. With that said, I'm just going to kind of freestyle it today. I'm using the Golden Dawn Tarot, I'm using the Dragon Tarot, and the Animal Messages deck. So, I'm going to take a deep breath, and I do implore you to take a deep breath with me so that we may connect deeper with our higher selves and spirit. Call it to spirit, please help myself, the collective, and anybody watching this hear, see, and know anything we need to hear, see, and know for the week of March 16th to March 22nd, 2020. Keeping in mind that the Mercury retro shade is going to be over on the 17th, and Saturn is going to be moving into Aquarius on the 20th, which will mark the Saturn return for not only myself, but many of you that I have connected with on Instagram. So we're going to do 3 shuffles. I'm trying to talk less as I shuffle, because I'm noticing I'll listen back to the readings and the shuffling will drown out some of my words. So I'm working on that. But that said, one more shuffle, and we're going to see what Spirit has in store for us for the week. I'm going to cut the deck. Okay. We have the Sun reverse, 5 of Swords reverse, the 7 of Cups, 3 of Pentacles. At the bottom of the deck is the overall energy. So if we're taking a look at the 3 of Pentacles, 3 of Pentacles to me often represents the necessity of balance. If you're looking at each pentacle as a separation, it could be the mind, the body, and the soul, given those aren't inherently separate, but you can view them as such in terms of how you process and balance. As the overall energy for the week, I do feel like this is a good time to rest and recuperate. While we do not necessarily have a 4 of Swords or a Hermit type of energy out at the moment, we do have the Sun reverse, as long as the 7 of Cups. And the Sun reverse to me is often indicative of a blessing in disguise card, but it can also represent the Moon, since the Moon and the Sun are known as, I guess polar opposites in some kind of ways, night and day. But if we're looking at the Sun reverse as the Moon type energy, what that's telling me is essentially now is a good time to really sit with some of the deeper emotions that are coming up with you. And I mean, it really just aligns with the message I was getting before I did the reading. Not fighting what's coming up for you, recognizing that this time to rest and to contemplate is extremely important to moving forward in the future, so that we do not go down the path of the 5 of Swords upright. If it were upright, we would be in a state of conflict, mental conflict, perhaps in arguments with other people. But given it is in the reverse with the 7 of Cups, this is really just feeling like this is a time for... it's not necessarily limited communication, but more so communication is going to be a little bit lighter. It's going to be a little bit lighthearted. It's going to be a bit playful. It's going to be a bit curious. It's kind of what's coming through right now, because the 7 of Cups to me can also represent a playful type of energy. But we're going to go ahead and clarify these and see what comes out. Okay. These cards are starting to get bent, so it's kind of difficult to keep them looking straight, because even if you get them straight, they just start bending upwards. It looks like it's not. So let's clarify this. Clarifying the Sun reverse, we have the Queen of Pentacles. Clarifying the Five of Swords reverse, we have the Six of Pentacles. Clarifying the Seven of Cups, we have the Three of Swords reverse. And we have the Lovers, clarifying the overall energy of the Three of Pentacles. So this can represent a few things. I mean, it can represent a multitude of things, let's be honest. There's really no set way to look at it. But what I'm getting right here with the Lovers, clarifying this Three of Pentacles, can represent a decision. While it can represent love, we're not getting much cup energy on the table other than the Seven of Cups. But the fact that the Seven of Cups is clarified by the Three of Swords reverse is telling me that you're coming to I want to say a greater sense of balance, not only within your own personal life, but maybe within your own interpersonal relationships. Because what I'm seeing here with the Queen of Pentacles, this can represent an earth sign, a Taurus, Capricorn, or a Virgo that you may be dealing with. It can also represent the feminine energies within yourself. But to me, this is speaking to me of a diplomatic person, somebody who is diplomatic not only in their social affairs, but in their emotional affairs, which I guess are both interrelated. But the fact that we have the Six of Pentacles, this is showing me that a time of greater reciprocation is coming along. And this can be represented in love or career or just your own internal experience. And the reason I say internal experience, I really feel like this Seven of Cups, Five of Swords reverse, and the Three of Swords reverse are speaking to me of the internal world. Swords being of the mind, communication. Since the Three of Swords is in reverse, this can indicate coming out of a type of heartbreak energy, coming out of a time that was emotionally difficult, that was causing some mental fog within you. But the Lovers, while it can indicate a decision, it is a card of Gemini. I do feel like this indicates a partnership that you may be dealing with somebody. This is coming to a point where a lot of the difficulties you may have been facing seem to be coming to a close. And that's really what I'm seeing here with the Three of Pentacles and the Lovers is the overall energy. It's like there's a greater balance coming into this relationship here. But it's becoming more reciprocal. Either that or you're deciding to explore new opportunities that are more reciprocal. So that can indicate you deciding to kind of step away from anything that is a conflict type energy. Because I do believe there's a difference between healthy conflict and conflict that leads us deeper into separation. So we're going to do another shuffle here and clarify the seams with the Mystical Cat Tarot. So clarifying the Sun reverse and Queen of Pentacles is the Knight of Swords. Clarifying the Five of Swords reverse and the Six of Pentacles is the Eight of Swords. Clarifying the Seven of Cups and the Three of Swords reverse is the Ten of Pentacles reverse. Clarifying the overall energies with the bottom of the deck is the Good Kitty card, which is a 20, comes down to a 2, which can be seen as a 2020 energy in some kind of ways, I suppose. Not necessarily, but perhaps. So let's go ahead and take a look right over here at this Eight of Swords. Eight of Swords in any kind of reading really indicates mental entrapment. So you're kind of like, there's an illusion of being trapped. There's an illusion of feeling like you're stuck in a particular mindset, in a particular situation that you've been wanting to get out of. But that's not necessarily the case. And so the message I'm getting specifically with this section here, with the Five of Swords reverse, Six of Pentacles here, clarified by the Eight of Swords, there's this energy of wanting to get away from situations that aren't reciprocal, but it's also a reminder that you may be the one that's keeping yourself trapped. And when it comes to reciprocation and the way you see reciprocation in a relationship, understanding that there's not necessarily an obligation for anybody to reciprocate any type of energy to you. And that is your decision as to whether you want to stick around with somebody who is either emotionally unavailable or unwilling to reciprocate in the way you feel you want reciprocation. The fact that we have the Ten of Pentacles reverse here can indicate being stuck in that karmic loop, can represent maybe troubles in the home. To me, this kind of feels like an energy of quarreling with the Three of Swords reverse and the Seven of Cups, not Seven of Pentacles. This could indicate, maybe small arguments in the home. This can indicate a need to adopt a more playful approach to how you interact with those you live with, those that you were close with. This, if we're talking about like a relationship, a romantic relationship, this is learning to reinvent the wheel in terms of the way you two interact with each other. maybe not going about your conflicts in the same way, but the fact that we do have this Five of Swords reversed and the Six of Pentacles tells me that if you're in a stage of trying to work things out with somebody, there's a sense of recognizing the fact that you both have kind of kept each other trapped to the expectations you have projected onto each other without necessarily communicating those expectations. And I feel like with the Knight of Swords here, the Sky Kitten as it is in this deck, it actually might be the Page of Swords. I think the Kitten is the Page in the Cat deck. But there's this energy coming through in which you have a new opportunity to have a fair conversation, are the words that are coming through for me, especially with the Good Kitty as the overall energy. So it's as if this kind of really arduous karmic cycle is closing out between you two, and you're presented with this opportunity to really approach a relationship in a new way. But I'm going to go ahead and clarify the themes again with the Book of Thoth Tarot. Wow, I just got that whole stack, but that's a big stack, so let's shuffle again. Oh wow. Okay then. This is a lot. This is a lot of cards. I don't know if I should take all these cards. Look at all these cards. Spirit says I should, so I'm gonna listen. Alrighty. We're gonna do it a little bit differently. We'll put them up here. So we have the Star. We have the Universe reverse. The Emperor reverse. The Chariot reverse. Six of Pentacles reverse, which is interesting. The Seven of Pentacles reverse, Seven of Wands reverse, the Hermit, which we were talking about earlier, and we still have a lot of cards, so we'll pull them up here. Four of Wands, the Sun reverse again, Ace of Cups, what is this? Four of Pentacles, and between these we have Eight of Swords again, Ace of Wands reverse. So I was recently watching one of my favorite readers, and they made a point saying when you get multiples of the same cards, that may indicate that you're not getting the message clearly. And so I'm actually going to start taking that into mind. Instead of it being just a reiteration of the message, I'm going to take it as I need to look at the situation a bit differently and consider the surrounding cards to provide a more accurate message. So considering that we're going to start with the ones that we got doubles of. So considering the fact that we got the Eight of Swords twice, that, and especially this one apparently being the Gemini card, we have the Gemini symbol on here. So this is telling me that there is a sense of being trapped within yourself. So this may not be trapped within another person, but you may be stuck in your head with how you want to move forward, not only within a relationship, but within all aspects of your life. Considering the circumstances that many of us are facing right now, this is a good time to contemplate your lifestyle and how exactly you want to move forward from here. Understanding the fact that in some places, I mean, it's getting a little bit crazy, and so this is the opportunity to take that time to yourself, take that time to rest, especially if you're like on a quarantine or something like that, and really just reevaluating like every single aspect of your life. Quite honestly, it's really what's coming through for me. The fact that we do have the Star. The Star can represent divinely orchestrated events. The Star can represent communications from your higher self or the divine. But what I'm getting through with this Star right now is it can indicate your natal chart, right? Because we base our natal chart off of constellations, star, which are, I mean, not all of them are stars, but you know what I'm saying. I don't know much about the actual intricacies and details of what makes a constellation, but what I'm getting here is take a look at your chart, start paying more attention to your natal chart. If you don't know how to access your natal chart, I would recommend going to a free natal chart generator. You can use AstroTheme or astro.com. And you could essentially put in your birth time, birth date, and birthplace. It'll show you all of your placements, all of the aspects, and all of the signs that you have in the houses. And I think that's a good thing to consider when we're moving through certain astrological events, considering, Mercury retrogrades, the Saturn retrograde that's going to be coming up in a bit. I've just really been drawn to Saturn lately. I think not only because I'm going to be going through my Saturn return, but because Saturn is such a demanding energy in our lives. It is known as the planet of karma, as some like to say, the name it, or Daddy Saturn, some like to call it that too. But I think you should pay attention to where Saturn is in your chart, even if it's not your Saturn return. And if you do want to know when your Saturn return is, you look at where Saturn is in your chart and you go to look to see when Saturn will be in that sign. Saturn spends about 3 years in each sign. It's going to be in Aquarius for a bit, and it's going to retrograde into Capricorn and go back into Aquarius, ending in 2022 or 23, I believe. But the fact that we have the Sun reversed again, with the Ace of Cups next to it and the Ace of Wands reversed, I'm being drawn to these. So there's this energy of, again, yes, it can be a blessing in disguise, but it can also represent new opportunities in love that aren't going to be false endings, if that makes sense, because the Ace of Wands reverse can often indicate false endings, false starts, very, very in and out type of energy, one night stand type of energy, which can be frustrating for somebody who is looking for a committed relationship. But what I'm seeing here is the fact that we have the Emperor in the reverse. Again, this can represent your masculine side, but this can also represent a masculine counterpart that you may be dealing with. If you do resonate more with the not the Capricorn, but the masculine energy, keep in mind it is not gender specific, so you may be dealing with a masculine counterpart who is thinking about coming forward and making a new offer. They want to come through and say, hey, I've let go of my old ways, right? So the Four of Pentacles with the Ace of Wands reversed and the Ace of Cups with the Chariot reversed, actually. So there's this energy of this person wanting to come forward. They want to show you, hey, like, I am really trying to do things differently. I have done the work on myself, but I am still in a stage of healing, which can indicate the fact that we have the Hermit and the Seven of Wands reverse. So there's an energy of this person wanting to come through, wanting to say how they feel, wanting to really just fill you in with everything they've been up to and all the healing that they've been doing. But the reason that they are not coming through with it, not only because the universe is in reverse, they are in this state of being kept in incubation still is what I'm hearing. I feel like that's been a major overarching theme, not only for the Divine Masculine, but for the Divine Feminine as well. So there's a sense of needing to come to an area of control in their lives, learning to control their impulses, learning to understand the deeper workings of their impulses. But the fact that we do have the Six of Pentacles coming out twice, and one's in reverse, one's in the upright. And so it's kind of like two different stories, two sides of a coin. So we can look at the Queen of Pentacles earlier as like you, the Divine Feminine nature, if you resonate more with that. Again, not gender specific. Now the top side of these cards, that big old stack that came out, can be a big indication of the masculine energy that you may be dealing with, cued by the Emperor, which is in reverse, which is telling me that the Emperor, or this masculine figure, or the internal masculine nature of yourself, is in a stage of needing to really come into balance and face some very harsh truths, face the fact that you may have been the one holding yourself back. But the fact that we have the Four of Wands here, I find that a very awesome card to have, not only in love and relationship readings, but just as your own spiritual foundation. So this is a time of coming out of the self-sabotage, coming out of the things that have held you back, learning to build upon your spiritual foundation instead of having to just start anew. You're coming to a stage of being able to completely reinvent every aspect of your life, from mental, spiritual, and emotional, indicated by that Three of Pentacles that we had. So it's like both you and this masculine energy, and if that doesn't resonate with you, you can actually apply this to the internal masculine and feminine energies within yourself. My spirit is telling me that this does apply both ways. This can apply to you and another person, as well as to both sides of your energy, right? So we're going to actually pull, I don't really know if there's really much else to pull aside from me doing the animal closing message here. So we're going to close this reading up. A lot of cards, but very short and succinct messages. I mean, the only thing I didn't really touch on much was the Seven of Pentacles reverse. But the Seven of Pentacles reverse is similar to the energy of this Four of Pentacles and Ace of Wands reverse, right? And the Seven of Pentacles in the upright to me indicates, playing games, the cat and mouse type of energy, not really being serious, not really being committal, not willing to build something foundational, but it seems like, given that it is with the Sun reverse and the Eight of Swords, kind of clarifying this whole section here, the universe is essentially placing you in the stage to be able to process the fact that these lessons are coming up for you, and it's giving you an opportunity to really integrate and learn everything that has come up, because the last collective reading we had was very, very adamant on talking about the integration period, right? I believe it was the last collective reading. It might have been the one before that, but I'm pretty sure it was the last one. And the main message, excuse my stuttering. My thoughts are just going all over the place. Lots of channel messages coming in, trying to have my mouth keep up with my mind. So the main message that really came through was the need to integrate, right? I think that was literally the title. It was like time to integrate. And so now you're kind of coming in this phase where you're letting go of a lot of the old ways that you have realized through the integration period. and you're coming to a stage of being presented with a new opportunity to move forward in ways that will bring further balance to your mental, emotional, and spiritual states. But that said, I'm going to clarify and close this with some animal messages. I'm going to pull two here. We have the wild boar, and we have red squirrel. So the wild boar says, whatever tradition or others expect of you, only be true to yourself, or only to yourself be true. And so I've gotten this card a few times, and the main message that comes through with this card is essentially not holding yourself to traditions that are outdated and traditions that you feel are completely against your value system as a person, given that those values are bound to change as you grow, especially coming out of an integration period and at the tail end of this incubation period. Because I really feel like when Saturn moves into Aquarius, a lot of us are going to be moving forward in ways that we have been wanting to for a long time, especially if it is going to be your Saturn return. There's going to be the sense of needing to really grow up and step things to the next level if you've already been doing the work. But I think the main message coming through with this wild boar in that context, even if it isn't your return, Saturn often kind of demands that of us. Saturn will say like, hey, like you want this out of life, here's what you got to do. It's like a step-by-step process, right? It's like Saturn can be seen as like your business manager, or it can be seen as anything that helps you plan any aspect of your life, right? And with the wild boar, speaks of not holding yourself to the traditions and values of people who don't understand the path that you're on, but still being able to respect them enough to honor and respect their paths, right? Because we have the red scroll that says, gather your resources now, for they will sustain you through the coming change. This can speak of a couple of things, right? And it's a bit hard for me to ignore the fact that this is quite on point with some of the things that have been going on collectively. I feel like there's a lot of fear and panic in the collective right now, and it is important to be calm, to remain calm, to just try to process things as they come up, but just really being easy on yourself. But the fact that this card is, indicative of gathering resources for the coming times, this can indicate the need to change the way you live your life, live a bit more frugally, so that if you are put in a situation in which you're on lockdown or in quarantine, you're not able to leave your house, this is going to be the energy that sustains you. And it's not only referring to external resources. I feel like this energy is referring to the internal reserves, and it's making sure that you're allocating your energy in ways that isn't going to deplete you. Because if given the fact that there's a lot of panic and fear, and it can be very easy to fall into that, there is a likelihood that there will be people in your life that may come to you for guidance, or they may come to you for support, or whatever it is, humans coming together to support humans, right? But there's still the necessity to recognize the fact that your energetic boundaries are important, and you need to reserve yourself so that way you can be sustained throughout this process. Because let's be honest, it's a very uncertain time. I'm not going to sit here as a reader and lie to you. I'm not going to pretend that there's nothing happening. Because if I were to do that, it would feel very dishonest of me to pretend that this reading is going to gloss over what's going on collectively. Given it is a collective reading, that is the energy that is coming through. But, I don't know. I mean, it's not necessarily a scary type of energy. It feels like a very reassured energy. It feels like some of these experiences that you may be going through right now are really going to help bring you into a greater state of balance in your life. I know I say that quite often, but these are the messages that have really been coming through. Spirit's telling me to pull a couple of more. You know what? I'm going to pull the Divine Feminine Oracle, because Spirit was telling me earlier that I should use it. I often don't use it because it's a lot of reading. And it can be a bit harsh on my voice if I do it too often. But this is I feel like there needs to be a bit of Divine Feminine reassurance and love to end this reading with. Given it's not a heavy reading, but it is a very Saturn-based reading is what I'm feeling. Is a very stern, very down to earth. Here's what you need to do. Here's what's happening internally and externally. Keep in mind this went so many ways of like divine partnership, internal experiences, collective social necessities, as it applies to external and internal reserves. So we're going to pull a final divine, if I can get these cards to get down. Final message here from Kuan Yin, Divine Feminine. Call of the Dancing Crane, card number 4. Now, this to me can represent a A lot of the changes, trials, and tribulations that 2020 has brought with it so far, not only for the collective, but for us as individuals that do participate in this interrelated reality, right? So given it's a 4, 2020 boils down to a 4. 4 has to do with foundations, 4 has to do with building foundations, anything that would come with a foundation. So there's a sense of kind of removing of old, outdated structures to rebuild in ways that are going to be sustainable for every aspect of our experience, environmentally, emotionally, societal, culturally. I suppose I'm trying to say in the way of relationships, if that makes sense. Like relationships as well will be restructured in a way that is going to be conducive to healthy and sustainable foundations. So we're going to read this card number 4, close out the reading. It says, Call of the Dancing Crane. Dancing crane moves through waters and muddy marsh with elegance and grace. The mating call and dance of the crane is full of beautiful movement and flow. There are times when the astral waters of our emotional life become stagnant and will benefit from the healing movement, grace, and beauty of the dancing crane. The call of the dancing crane is a reminder that sound can be healing too. This is particularly so when your thoughts, beliefs, and emotional patterns do not support you living in the spiritual destiny you were born to live. Have you ever felt like you were a different person on holidays or when you were traveling? This is because you were free of the astral gravity that you usually live within on a day-to-day basis. The astral plane is like glue. When we put enough energy of habit into thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and stories from our past that condition how we interpret current life experiences, we can get stuck in astral gravity, unable to let go of ways of thinking and reacting even if we really wish to do so. We can create sticky astral thoughts and beliefs that attach to houses, places, and people. When we are in a different environment, we often have a chance to create fresh habits and beliefs, which is why a holiday or travel can be so refreshing and inspiring. Sometimes, however, that is not practical, and we need healing to break through the muddy stagnation of old thoughts and beliefs right now. As we grow spiritually, we can outgrow our astral conditioning, just like sifting mud out of water. So we can move more freely and gracefully like the dancing crane if we accept healing energy to help us filter through our psychological programs so that our thoughts, beliefs, and emotions can create new habits and patterns more aligned with what we would like to experience in our lives. These filtered energies can become more powerful than old stories about life that no longer support us in living according to our spiritual light. Healing the astral waters can require great patience, persistence, and application to be achieved. The dancing crane uses dance and sound to thrive, and you are encouraged to use movements such as dance or yoga, and sacred sounds such as chanting mantras or healing names of the divine such as Kuan Yin, dancing crane goddess, to support you on your healing journey. You may intuitively feel that the movement in a physical sense to a different location, such as going for a walk or a drive to a different park or beach, might help you. If you have been feeling that you need to move to a different location, change situations in your life, or connect with new groups of people with whom you feel more inspiration, then this oracle is confirming this intuition and encouraging you to embrace those changes in your life. You are being guided by the grace of Kuan Yin through the healing vibration of the call of the dancing crane. To stop believing in your own stories, your old habits and patterns, and to realize that they are simply astral conditioning. There is no higher truth to them than this. You are allowed to change them. You can choose to cultivate any thoughts, beliefs, and interpretations of experiences that you like. Sometimes we are graced with the divine assistance which helps our astral healing happen more quickly and easily. We still need affirmations to change our thoughts and to let go of old stories about our self-worth, abundance, health, relationships, judgments of ourselves or others. Yet, with divine blessings, it is like we get a hand lifting us up out of our old ways until we learn to stand in the new vibration on our own. You are being asked to allow her to assist you now. She may come to you in meditations, through a healing session, or a dream. You may see her as a crane goddess or hear music and sound that uplifts you into a new vibration. You may feel her guidance in the urge to create a vision board, to say affirmations or a mantra, and a desire to dance or do yoga. Allow her to guide you to the perfect way for you to receive her divine blessing, and help set that your affirmations, your vision board made of inspiring images that you love, and your choices to interpret incoming data as evidence that the universe loves and helps you become more powerful than the pull of your past. I will include the healing meditation. It says healing with the call of the divine dancing crane. Sit quietly and be aware of your heart space. Imagine you can look up through the crown of your head and see, sense, or feel a radiant ball of pure white light with vibrant neon flecks in the center and a radiant neon violet rim around the edges. Say, I call upon the electric violet light to cleanse my astral field of all negative energy now, through the grace of Kuan Yin, so be it. Perceive that electric violet light pouring like an endless river through the crown of your head, down through your body and out your feet, flooding out through the center of your being until you are in a huge column of electric violet light that grows larger than the room you are sitting in. Rest in this for as long as feels good and finish by saying, I now call the grace of Kuan Yin to help me manifest higher vibrational thoughts, beliefs, and emotions that support my soul light in a joyful and fulfilling life experience here on earth now. Om Mani Padme Hum. Then imagine that within your own heart you can see two cranes dancing elegantly, calling out to each other, playfully, feeling joy and delight. Imagine that these cranes represent your soul and the soul of Kuan Yin. Allow there to be freedom and dance between your souls. When you are ready, breathe in and out, and then open your eyes. You may like to complete this process with a bath or a foot bath, including a handful of salt in the water to finish your cleansing process. So, I think this is indicative of a few things. Not only do you need to take this time to heal some of the things that may be coming up for you, but recognize the fact that, to me, the cranes can represent, twin flame type of energy, soulmate type of energy. And I feel like this card just kind of encapsulates all of the main messages that came through for the external experiences, for the internal experiences as it relates to society, relationships, and your own personal healing journey. And so I think right now we are being pushed to grow in ways that may make us a little bit uncomfortable. It may be ways that we've been looking to grow for a while. And since we have asked for that type of growth, we have sought that type of growth, the universe is answering our I wouldn't say prayers. I mean, yes, answering our prayers, but in this context, answering our energy, responding to the energy we're putting out, wanting to grow and wanting to become better often requires some very difficult situations. Not all the time. I don't feel like difficulty is the only way for us to grow, but in some instances, that does help exacerbate the speed at which we are able to grow, right? So that said, that's really all I have for this week. If you would like to book a personal reading, please send me an email to jazargoshepard@gmail.com. I love you all so much, and I will see you in the next reading. Bye-bye.